Being the appropriate time, we'll get started. Since Ollie's here, then everybody that comes is ready to go. So call the roll, please.
Duchamp.
Here.
Gillum.
Here.
Harris. Finley.
Here.
Rutherford.
Here.
Shaw. Here. Salter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please stand and join me as I recite the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Also join me in the flags. Attention, position, flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. Item 1, consider approval of the consent agenda. We've been requested to pull item C2 and item K. So I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda absent items 2C and item K.
So moved.
Second by Commissioner Gillum, second by Commissioner Rutherford. Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Item C2. By staff to add flexible delineator devices along the center line of Highland west of Harrison. The issue there is that we have a number of similar intersections that the Traffic Commission needs to consider in addition to that one. They've requested that we defer action on it. Is there any discussion? Would entertain a motion to defer action on item C2.
I vote to do that.
Moved by Commissioner Gillum. Second. Second by Commissioner Salter, I think. Yes. Call the question. Motion carries 5 yes and 1 abstention. Item K, request authorization to advertise bids for the Santa Fe parking lot improvement project. Is there any discussion? The issue there is that I think the plans that have been submitted by city engineering does not provide for a backdoor access for one of the people that have a business right there on the edge of the parking lot, and he's been very good to work with us in lots of areas, and we need to make sure that that's going to happen. It's my understanding informally that all that is going to get worked out. So I don't know if we should defer action on the going out for bids or allow them to go out for bid and just work with the contractor to make sure that our neighbors are taken care of.
Mr. Mayor, staff would prefer that, staff does recommend that you authorize us to go out for bid. The plans are about 50 or 60% complete, so we'll be wrapping those up in the next couple of weeks. And we do understand there's a concern from a neighboring property regarding access, and there's discussed that issue with engineering today. And we believe that there's enough time, certainly, to before we finalize those plans, to meet with the landowner and make accommodations where possible. So, of course, this project will come back to you. Should you continue with the authorization tonight, this project will come back to you, and you'll see the bids, and then you'll have an opportunity to approve it or not at that time. So, if for any reason there's not an agreement that's made between the city and the neighboring property owner, then that party would have an opportunity to comment again at that time as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions, Justin? Would entertain a motion to go ahead and allow the staff to advertise for bids.
I'd move to do that.
Moved by Commissioner Gillum,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rutherford. Call the question. Motion carries 6 yes, no nays. Citizens' participation. We have a 3-minute per limit person and a 12-minute per limit per topic. If you'll stand, announce yourself, come up, sign in, and
My name is Monty Garner.
how are you, Monty?
I'm doing well, sir.
You're the neighbor we were talking about in the
Yes,
previous
I'm
item.
the neighbor, and I'm the contractor at the museum. And part of I think our access issue, I think, is gonna get worked out, and I didn't know anything about it until I read the paper yesterday. But I do have an issue with, we're kind of getting out of sequence and going ahead with this parking lot if we're gonna do it in September. My concern is, we still have cement to pour, we still have heavy dirt work to do around that project. We get to put a brand new road in here, it's cutting off our access to get materials and what, and I'm concerned that we may damage the new road. So that's kind of a concern. And on the plans it shows sidewalk, and we don't know exactly what part of the city is gonna do the sidewalk versus the plans that we have. There's a variance in what the plot plan shows on the drawings from the architect versus what the city has proposed. And there's some hard to get to areas back in the back that have drainage issues that need to be attended to before the area is blocked off, and I don't think anybody has addressed that. I think it's a little bit out of sequence to start all that road stuff in September.
Your comments are duly noted, and based on the fact that it's gonna come back to us before any contract gets let anyway, we'll be sure to address those items, and appreciate you bringing those to our attention.
Thank you all very much.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Monty.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Kate Joyce. I'm the director of the Shawnee Senior Center. I just wanted to thank the commission and the staff and everyone involved through the contracting for the contract that we have received again this year to support the senior citizen services, and let you know we're going to continue to be good stewards of your money and invite everybody to come to our 50s dance. So it's the 29th of this month in the auditorium from 7 until 9:30 or 10 o'clock, in case somebody gets tired. But Elvis will be there, so y'all might as well come too.
All the people that remember the 50s will be tired.
Well, I didn't really want to say that out loud, but thank you for saying so.
Thank you, Kate. Anyone else? All right. Justin? Item 3, presentation by City Manager to Employee of the Month, Sabrina Hutchinson.
All right, I'll ask Sabrina to come forward. All right, our Employee of the Month for this month is Sabrina Hutchinson. She has lived in Shawnee for 8 years. In her spare time, she enjoys camping and watching movies with her boyfriend. And she has a cat that she's quite fond of, too. Sabrina has been with the City of Shawnee since December of 2016, and she serves as our custodian here at City Hall. While working at City Hall, she's of course deals with the public on a routine basis, and deals with a lot of situations that require attention and cleanup, and we're so thankful for the job that she does. She's always does her work without complaint, and is enthusiastic and always has a smile on her face. So Sabrina, I'd like to present this to you and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina. It's nice to have you. Item 4, consider Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Fund lump sum payment from defined benefit plan for Zane Qualls. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second
Second.
by Commissioner Bushong, second by Commissioner Gillum.
And Cindy, we do have funds available for this.
This actually comes out of the retirement that's already been funded.
Okay.
Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Item 5, consider Oklahoma Municipal Retirement Fund lump sum payment from defined benefit plan for Daniel Morrell. Is there a motion?
I will move to approve that.
Commissioner Gillum,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bushong. Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Item 6, authorize staff to purchase 3 2017 Ford Interceptor SUVs at the state bid price of $52,000 each.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. This is the 3 police Interceptor SUVs that we put in the current budget, and we'd like to get the authorization to go ahead and purchase them. The price is $52,000 each. That's all inclusive. They come with every bit of equipment ready to hit the road and go, and it's at the state bid price on the vehicles. If you have any questions.
Any questions?
I believe there was a $2,000 difference, and from what Justin had indicated, that you've already resolved that budgetary concern, correct?
That is true, and I talked to them, and they said that was due to paint and graphics, and we had upgraded to the new city branding on the graphics, and so there was a little bit of a upcharge on the graphics and the paint.
Okay. So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rutherford. Did I miss one?
No.
I'm sorry.
That's good.
Call the question.
Right on it.
Motion carries 6-0. Item 7, consider approval of a professional services agreement with Center for Economic Development Law to review and possibly update the city's tax increment financing district.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Commission members. In 2003, the City Commission at that time established the city's first and today only tax increment financing district. And over the last 13 years, that district downtown, which is focused on downtown and downtown revitalization, has contributed approximately $700,000 to our streetscape efforts. And of course, those efforts culminated the last couple of months with the completion of the streetscape project, and all of those funds were used to help support that project, which is actually the next item on your agenda to accept the final project. In reviewing the TIF district, and in light of the completion of this kind of monumental project downtown, staff feels that it would be a very good time to revisit where we're at with the district, with the boundaries, and where and how funding could be utilized in the future to continue the momentum that we have, and hopefully will be generated by the work that we just did as well. And so, with that, we are requesting tonight to be able to engage the Center for Economic Development Law, which is a firm that specializes in these revitalization districts in Oklahoma. It's the same firm that we utilized last time. It's the same firm that nearly every jurisdiction in Oklahoma uses to create or modify these financing districts. The estimated cost for this work will be approximately $30,000. We do have $36,000 remaining in the TIF district fund, and one of those eligible expenses is these fees to review and modify the district. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. We've had some discussions with our taxing partners, Pottawatomie County, public school systems as well, and so we want to be very open and transparent as we start this process. If this was approved tonight, the next follow-up item that will come back to you is actually the establishment of a review committee that will be comprised of a member of each of the taxing jurisdictions, as well as city commissioners and staff. And so this is really just the initial kickoff, and you will see this front and center a number of times over the next few months. This will probably be wrapped up towards the end of the calendar year. Be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Any questions of Justin?
I have
This
two.
is basically to give us a good idea exactly where we are at a given point. Is that more or less?
Yes, sir. And
Updating. How often do we do this?
well, the issue with the update is we have options right now because our current district has not expired, and our current district is set to expire after 15 years. State law allows districts to actually extend up to 25 years, and so one of the things that we can discuss is if it makes sense to sunset this district, start fresh, if it makes sense to modify this district and then take it on to the maximum period of 25 years. And so we don't necessarily, I certainly don't have any preconceived notions about what might be the best avenue, but this will allow us to explore those options with our with the committee members that are appointed and see what works best for us.
Justin, I noted that the CEDL had sent an engagement letter which will serve as our contract with them, and it had two amounts in there, one at $30,000 and the other at $50,000. And I heard you say the word estimated. So how are we to ensure that this will be kept at the $30,000 mark based on this letter language?
Right. We don't have a guaranteed maximum amount. They can provide that. It would probably, they're going to obviously have to protect their interests, and it would probably be at about $50,000, which is I think what they were alluding to. What's important to note is that the more work staff can do to support this effort, putting together meetings, the graphics, there will be maps and graphics that will have to be generated. We can do that in-house in the planning and engineering departments. So I'm quite confident that we can do this for around $30,000. I have no objection to bringing this back to the commission should we hit that trigger.
I know the Shawnee Economic Development Foundation has discussed this, and I know that Tim will and his staff will be willing to provide some support. They've debated it. Tim, do you have anything to add to what Justin's saying?
You're exactly right, Mayor. We have talked as a board about supporting the city on this. It's neat to continue the TIF district downtown. It's very important.
So this is actually a proposal to engage them to guide us through the process to make a future determination, which will come back to this group for approval or disapproval.
I suggest then that considering the language in this engagement letter, that we make it clear that this is capped at $30,000 amount, and that if it needs to go up to the $50,000 amount, that it comes back to this commission for review and consideration at that time.
I have no objection.
Is that a motion to
That's a
approve
motion.
subject to a $30,000 maximum?
Correct.
By Commissioner Shaw.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Gillum. Is there any further discussion?
When will this project be completed, Justin? Is there an estimated?
I believe it will take approximately 4 months.
Okay, thank you.
Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Item 8, consider acceptance of the Main Street Streetscape project and placing maintenance bond into effect. And John is not with us. I guess you're doing this.
Yes, sir. Mr. Kreiwerke is not with us. This agenda item is requesting your formal acceptance of the Main Street project. We have had a chance to do our final calculations and go over the punch list with the contractor. We're very pleased with the work that was completed. We were at the final tally, we were over the initial bid award by 8.9%. That was due to some unforeseen underground infrastructure and some changes that were necessitated because the infrastructure that was in place was about 80 years old, and so the plans that we had, historical documents, and were insufficient to really determine where the existing infrastructure was located and some of the construction challenges. So Overall, on a project of this size, which was, again, over $3 million, to come in at about 8.9% over at the end, I think is still very good. Staff does recommend approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Justin, how do we plan on paying for that overrun? Which budget line item will that be taken?
Yes, and it will be taken out of the street department funds, with the exception that any cost overrun that is related to water or sewer infrastructure will come out of the municipal authority. And we have that full accounting in the packet and broken down by line item. Should you wish to, it's about 11 pages, so.
Yes, Justin, I'd like you to go through all of that.
We do have that full accounting, so.
No more questions.
I presume that we are, engineering is creating as-built as we move along through the things that we're working through now.
We do have as-bills.
80 years from now, Commissioner Shaw's daughter won't have this problem.
Yes, we will. We have
Great-grand.
everything digital now, so it's a different world.
Any other questions?
No.
Thank you.
Call the question. Or do we have a motion to accept? I'm sorry.
I make a motion to accept the Main Street Streetscape project.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bushong. Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Acknowledge sales tax report received in July. This is good news.
July sales tax collected, well, this is actually for June, was $1,537,000. We're up from July of 2016, but July of 2016 we did not quite make our budget, so we're barely making our budget for July of this year, because we had budgeted 2.5%. So we're up about 4%. It's a great start for the new year. But as we all know, sales tax can go up and down, so hopefully it will stay up. The use tax was $128,540, and we're up $22,000 from last year, and I really anticipated Amazon being about $25,000 a month, so I think we're right on the mark.
So how much do we have from Amazon right now? What did you say that amount was?
It's running, our taxes are up about $25,000 a month.
Okay. And that's contributed to, or attributed to?
I think
Amazon.
we're gonna see, we may actually see more in the future, because it seems like I've noticed we've had a lot of new sales tax permits. So I don't know, maybe only small dollar amounts, but they figured, I guess, if Amazon's doing it, we better do it. So we can just see what happens in the future. But right now it's running, I mean, we only have 3 months, to figure it out so far, and it's been about $25,000 a month. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Justin? Item 10, City Manager Report.
Yes, sir. I have a full report in your packet, and I will just highlight a couple of items this evening. Of course, we just concluded with the IFYR, and the 25th anniversary. It's a really great rodeo this year. Weather was nice, and we heard a lot of great compliments about the new facility, that being the conference center, the remodeled conference center. I just wanted to mention that and thank Avitas again for their support of that project. The remodel project is about 90% complete. We were able to get all of the flooring done and the lighting, sound system, and kind of the major things that you would immediately notice in the conference center. However, they weren't quite able to finish all the HVAC work, so that is being wrapped up over the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, we'll bring that to you for acceptance when it is complete. But it was about 90% complete for the rodeo, which was excellent. If you've driven by Fire Station 2 on Bryan Street this week, you've noticed the demolition work has begun, and so it's great to see that project underway. We're anticipating, again, hopefully a grand reopening of that station in spring of 2018. The police department is actively pursuing a number of grant opportunities, one of which is the Edward Burns Memorial Grant. They're looking for about $7,000 or $8,000, which will provide some the purchase of some rifle plates, which provide some extra ballistic protection should officers get into a situation where they have high velocity, a weapon and projectile that their vests that do not normally stop. So that's a good addition to safety, and we're hopeful for the opportunity to secure those funds, and we'll keep you updated on that process. And then lastly, I wanted to call your calendars to a couple of big events on August 26th. In the morning from 10 until noon on August 26th is the official launch of the Blue Zones initiative. That is happening at the Performing Arts Center at Shawnee High School. There'll be a lot of advertising out for that. You'll see banners go up over the next couple of weeks. Please mark that on your calendar. And then in the afternoon, from 1 until 4, we're doing a Cops for Kids event at Woodland Park. And this is something that the city has done previously, but we haven't done it for several years, and so this is a great opportunity to connect with our community. It's also a great partnership because it's not just the city, it's county sheriff, it's tribal law enforcement. It's a great coming together of all law enforcement entities, and a great opportunity for the public to interact. And there'll be things, there'll be there'll be food vendors and opportunities for fun events for kids as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on anything else in my report or any other topic.
Is there a formal fundraising effort to fund the Cops for Kids event?
You see if they're still got all your sponsorships?
Yes.
There is. We're working with several people in town and accepting donations to get everything up and running for it. So from everything from hot dog buns to favorite.
So those here in person or on the audience over the tube can direct those funds to you, your attention?
That is actually, is it CFO or
Oh, we run it through the Shawnee Community Foundation?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Shawnee Community Foundation, 1421 East 45th, if anybody asks. Thank you. Is there any new business?
Yes, sir.
Commissioners' comments? None?
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. Since I was here in 1992 to 2000, and remembering what it was like then, this is so peaceful, and I'm so happy to work with a bunch of guys that I can enjoy and work with, and gal, obviously, too, that are pulling one direction, and we're not fighting each other like we were back those days. So I'm just real pleased to be here and to spend another, hopefully, 4 years with a group like this in a town that has this progressive attitude and moving very much ahead. That's about the size of it.
I would echo those thoughts precisely. It's not that, and as to all of our stakeholders, it's not that we don't have our disagreements, but we try to disagree without being disagreeable. So kudos to all.
I agree.
I want to acknowledge the volunteers at the rodeo are what that's just great. If you haven't been there, everyone should go. But the amount of volunteers is it 500? Is that kind of the number that we have? They make that thing come together. Plus all the staff and everyone else. But I want to thank all the volunteers for being out there when it's hot and working all the hours that they work. It was great to see them. And Cops and Kids has already been talked about a couple of times. I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And the pool will be open prior to that, so the kids that are we've got a lot of things going that one day at the high school, and then come to the Cops and Kids in the pool, and so it's all going to get kind of tied together between now and then. So August the 26th is going to be a really fun day.
Great.
I have several things I'd like to mention. Earlier, I'd had a discussion with Justin in regard to the Traffic Commission meeting and the fact that they had only met once in the last year. And I know this group is new and they're trying to get their board together and work on things on how to approach things. And I know historically it only met once. So this is an improvement by 3 months, and I'd like to encourage this board to take more part, and I believe Justin and his staff are going to be working with these individuals to try to give them some more information on trying to get some input and some recommendations from them. The reason I bring this up is because there was the concern of the University Road that had been mentioned by the Traffic Commission, and they thought that was their purview. And they were not able to act on that. It had already come here to the city, and we had already made a decision on that. And they should have been given the right and the opportunity, if that is their duty, to be able to give us some input on that and give us a recommendation. There's also another area that businesses that make recommendations on changes to be made at our traffic lights and things. I certainly appreciate that. Yet it's the city's, it's their right to go in and to consider what is being recommended to them. There was a business recently that indicated that we should add flexible delineator devices along a center line to accommodate the business flow there. And we need to think broader. We need to see how we can help all of our intersections and all of our businesses so that it becomes a public safety issue and not just one business that's making a recommendation. And I certainly appreciate that the Syntrax management system is going into place, and I do hope that we get those phases completed timely, because that does give us some information on these high traffic areas. The other thing I'd like to bring up is that on Kickapoo, there's a lot of work that's being done along there, and there's so many of these businesses. I've been asked so many times over this week, you know, what's going across from High Noon Tanning or in the old Tech place, and I said, I don't know. I've been asked what's going into next door to O'Reilly's on Kickapoo, and I don't know. And, you know, I want to be able to tell them knowledgeably, you know, we've got this, and it's coming in. So let's stay informed on these issues. We need to keep our public aware of what's being built and when it's being built and when it'll be completed. And we've got so many good things coming in here in the city of Shawnee, and I want everyone to be aware of them. The last one was a question by my husband posed that he asked me specifically to ask the city manager tonight was, is there a Planet Fitness going in down from the homeland on Kickapoo? And for that, I thank everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, there is.
I might remind everybody that this Friday is the third Friday block party downtown. You might want to attend that. And then we'll probably have several visitors coming back to Shawnee this weekend, because it's the 50th reunion for the 1967 Shawnee High School graduating class. So there'll be a lot of those visitors in town.
Great. Thanks. What time is the block party?
It starts at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. We call the Shawnee Airport Authority meeting to order. There is a quorum. Item 1, consider approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Rutherford. Second by Commissioner Bouchon. Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Item 2, discussion and consideration of approving a new lease between the Shawnee Airport Authority and Johnny Kniesel, DBA Brown Derby Drive-In.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Commissioners. Yeah, this is a pretty standard land lease between the airport and Brown Derby. We've had to redraw some of the boundaries over on our Kickapoo Street airport property. We've got, you know, Brown Derby and the coffee shop, and we've actually got a vacant spot open that we're trying to market for somebody who wants some prime Kickapoo property to lease, so if there is anybody out there.
Is that where
Give me a call.
car wash used to be?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So that's my little plug. So anyway, Brown Derby, actually, we had to downsize their property to the property that they're actually using, downsize it from their original lease that they signed with us back in, I think, '88. But nonetheless, their operations, their business plan hasn't changed anything. It's simply just a land lease. Again, nothing's going to change. Just some key highlights of the lease, in case you're not aware. It's about a half acre of property. Lease rate, we recently got that appraised, and it came back about 16 cents a square foot is what that property, all three of our properties appraised at. And so that actually did raise their rent just a little bit per month, even though they downsized on their lease premises a little bit. It is for 10 years. It's 2 periods of 5 years, and that after that initial term, we will look at that rate and adjust that accordingly to the inflation index or another appraisal, whichever is higher. Insurance requirements, we still require what we do for all of our other tenants on the airport. The Airport Advisory Board did recommend approval at the June 28th meeting, and staff also recommends approval as well.
Are there any questions of Keenan?
Now, since you brought that before us, I do have to ask you, is the Brown Derby ever going to update more modernize it? I love Brown Derby, and I've loved it for decades, but...
Well, one of the questions I had is the oldest lease that we had with them was 1988, but they've been around a lot longer than that, have they not? Yeah, I was going to say. I've only lived in Shawnee for about 4 or 5 years, so. No, not that I know of. When they do, I'll let you know, and of course we'll have to run that by our permit office. So, but no, nothing as far as I know is going to change at this time.
Okay, so initially it's for a 5-year period, and then it'll be a renewal lease,
For an
should they
additional-
so choose, for
Yes.
an additional period of 5 years. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw. Is there a second? Second. Second by Commissioner Bushong. Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Is there any new business?
No, sir.
This meeting is adjourned, and we convene the meeting of the Shawnee Municipal Authority. We do have a quorum, and I would consider a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Rutherford. Second by Commissioner Gillum. Call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Item 2, authorize staff to purchase several various size Neptune water meters and associated parts from HD Supply Waterworks in the amount of $99,984.04.
Good evening. This is a request similar to the one last year, to purchase in bulk the R900 meters that we have spoken about. The plan is to replace the standard meter with these radio reads for safety issues on high traffic roads.
And this is a budgeted item.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions?
When do you anticipate purchasing this if it's authorized?
Immediately.
Okay, and you'll put them into place the next day?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, it'll be throughout the year.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Shaw. Second?
Second.
Second by that guy down there, Mr. Commissioner Salter. Excuse me. I'll call question. Motion carries 6-0. Item 3, authorize staff to purchase 25 loads of Aqualum and 10 loads of caustic soda from HCI Brentag Southwest Inc. in the amount of $201,000.
Again, this is similar to the request last year. This allows us approximately 6 months of chemicals to treat the water. It just eliminates paperwork, POs. We get a better price when we purchase in bulk as well.
I know y'all have this budgeted, but But
Yes.
from a liquidity standpoint, where's the $300,000 gonna come from that's gonna take care of these two acquisitions? I know you've got it budgeted, but,
Utilities bills about 300,000 a month.
okay. So it doesn't
It's just-
present a funding issue.
Nope.
Thank you. Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve that.
Commissioner Gillum, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bushong, call the question. Motion carries 6-0. Is there any new business?
Yes, sir, there's not.
This meeting is adjourned.